Oh, 10th in an 8-man race.
Fourth. That's not terrible. All right, let's take a quick break and talk to Take Your Lemons.
Oh.
I gotta get the headphones set up here. 1 second, guys.
Do you have mine?
Yep, I got yours.
What are you doing with my headphones?
I mean, I don't have yours. You have yours. I don't know where yours are.
I don't know where mine are either. Good job, Matt.
Yep.
Not making me make sure that I'm making sure of stuff.
Anytime, man.
Let's ask the home audience. What did they see us do with my headphones?
Hey, Take Your Lemons, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. How are you guys?
Pretty good. Hang on 1 second. We gotta shorten the headphone cable. I think I can barely hear you. Try one more time.
Skylanders is the best game ever.
I heard that. Well, hey, Doug's getting his headphones hooked up here, so while he's doing that, thank you so much for all the support this weekend. That has been incredible, man. Thank you.
Oh, no worries. It's
now we know that he's serious about not buying the rest of Superchargers.
So yeah,
I challenge everybody to abandon the franchise because they lied to us. I'm gonna spend all the money that I was gonna spend on it on kids. Done.
Yeah.
Can you hear Doug?
Yep.
Okay. I keep getting in and out on my headphones.
So that means you're in the
Yeah, same here as well. But I'm using, of course, my Wi-Fi network. So I'm using USB Logitech headset on my Windows 10 machine right now. So
that's a tricky configuration.
yeah.
Yep, sounds good on the stream.
Cool. Yeah, I've been listening to you guys since, episode 6, and of course, Doug and I have been chatting, on different topics. It's been great, hearing the show, and I just wanted to, give some feedback. So, I know that, sometimes you guys get very focused on some of your conversations. About
no, not us.
Yeah, just some things you got to take the good with the bad, right? And everyone just wants to hear the good. Well, I'm one of those guys that I'm kind of like Doug in that, if something doesn't sit right with me, I speak my mind. So that part of those conversations I actually like. So anyway, just wanted to give you the other side of the coin on some of that. But it's been super cool, listening to everyone. I actually got into Skylanders, not me personally, but my son, who was probably 8 or 9 at the time, walked into a Best Buy, and there was actually someone there to demo the game, and that's how we basically got introduced to it. But he and I have been, kind of doing what you see on YouTube. Have to go out on the buy runs and find all the characters and stuff. So he's kind of tapering off on some of the support, and my other son, who's 2 or 3 years younger, is more into Roblox, because it's kind of like Infinity, in that you build things, and you can invite people in, and it introduces them to some of the scripting stuff. And I work in IT, so that's that kind of logical thinking stuff is kind of good for them. But anyway, they've been chomping at the bit to speak to you guys. I've been having them kind of practice what they're going to say. So with everything,
I can't wait.
with everything that's live, you never know what you're going to get with kids. So
so what do we want? What are we calling your kids?
Yeah,
it's okay if we don't want to say their real names,
right,
but
so,
I want to be able to talk to them.
Yeah. So my older son is ShinyRaichu 999, and that's his Roblox ID, and then my younger son is going to be MewTwo 90,000.
Okay, so Raichu and Mewtwo.
Right, and Raichu is the hardcore Skylanders guy that he and I've been on the journey with, and Mewtwo has been. He's actually been not all that into Skylanders, although with Superchargers he's really getting into the racing. He loves the competitive aspect of it. In fact, we would all sit down and race, and the winner gets to keep on, the winner gets to keep on, and then the odd man out gets to play again. So it's kind of been fun doing that. But anyway, here's ShinyRaichu. Give me 1 second here. I've got to pass the baton to him here. 1 second.
Okay.
Say testing.
Testing.
Hey there, we hear you loud and clear, Raichu. This is Matt and Doug, and we're real happy to get to talk to you today. How's it going?
It's good. My name is...
Good, awesome.
My name is ShinyRaichu999, and I really like Roblox because it's a fun game where you can build. And I do like Skylanders as well. All of the characters that I've played with in the game have been fun to play with. Especially Wind Up, Ninjini, those guys. Really fun.
Awesome.
Really fun characters to play with.
It's cool that you like Wind Up. He's a character that I don't know, he doesn't get talked about a lot, right, Doug? Nobody really says much about him.
Not too much. Most people don't play with him too much because you have to keep him wound up, but those that have figured out how to keep him going talk about how he's kind of an unstoppable beast. You have to know how to do it.
I'm kind of a fan of the underappreciated Skylanders.
I like that. Well, hey, you should write in and suggest one of those, or maybe another one as a Skylander of the week, and we'll do it on the show, on the podcast that we do.
Yeah.
You can tell us why you like that character, and we'll talk about it on the show. That'd be awesome.
Okay. And
so this game that you mentioned, Roadblocks, I'm gonna have to look into that. I've never heard of that, but it sounds like something that Abby might really enjoy if you get to build things.
yes, it is really enjoyable.
Okay, cool. I'll really look forward to learning more about that.
Your wallet is probably not going to thank you.
And you're...
Is it Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, which was your favorite vehicle in Superchargers?
Doug, you want to go first?
Sure. Play-wise, honestly, it's probably Hot Streak. It has the best overall handling, and it performs pretty much how you'd expect it to. There are odd little things with all of them. They all don't perform, quite as well. They don't handle as well as you'd think, and the handling mods really don't do anything to make up for that. Design-wise, I think the Crypt Crusher is probably, my favorite out of all of them. I think that one has the most stuff, tied together. It's the most clever. You can look at everything else and see for the most part that the design work is really tight on it, especially with like Stealth Helicopter. They went out of their way to be like, okay, it's leaves and it's trees and it's nature, but it's a wooden helicopter. It doesn't quite do it for me. But you've got the Day of the Dead, the music, the coffin, the whole undead motif. So Crypt Crusher is probably the winner overall for me. But as far as general use, it's gonna be the one they included in the box.
How ironic. Crypt Crusher is my least favorite vehicle.
Oh, shots fired.
Well, in practical use, it's overall pretty weak. It's pretty squishy unless you just nail your opponents with the weapons early on.
It's better at taking the lead than holding it.
Yep.
It doesn't have any boost attacks like Hot Streak or Burn Cycle.
Yeah, overall, for the most part, if you're just playing the campaign, they're all more or less equivalent across the board. Some of them are still easier than others, but it's not great at racing.
And you just mentioned probably my favorite so far anyway is Burn Cycle, but I have a feeling I'm really gonna like the Splatter Splasher and the Soda Skimmer when they come out. So.
And my favorite vehicle is actually the Reef Ripper, because it's really balanced. There's no obvious weakness for you to exploit with, and its electric attack, it's pretty good damage and range.
I like that you're really getting into the competitive part of the racing and figuring out which vehicles have strengths and weaknesses. That's really cool. Because for me, it's just more like, oh, I'm gonna just put what I like on the portal and not do very well.
Well, we don't expect to win.
Yeah, we're But that's awesome that you're getting into it. It's always cool when you find a game that you can really get in there and learn the deep details about it and everything.
Yeah, you've got to play the meta game, and you've got to min max if you really want to truly compete. You know, if the mods did more, or if there were more mods overall, or you could swap them in between vehicles, you know, some of the lower performing vehicles would probably stand a chance. But you know, like you said, you know, Raichu, you know, you just can't compete in the Crypt Crusher. You know, you might be able to get ahead, but then, you know, somebody hits you with a tiki mask and that's it. You know, you're 7th, 8th place and hard pressed to catch up again.
Yep.
Cool.
And another thing, when I'm racing against my dad in sky races, he always uses Jetstream, and I always try to put some space between me and him, because Jetstream, absolute killer.
Yeah, the attacks are really interesting on that vehicle. So
it also has a really, really small profile, so it's not as easy to line up a shot on it. It's, you know, it's more compact and streamlined than I think than any of the other air vehicles that we've gotten so far. I'd say that Jetvax is probably the I haven't raced with it, but I would guess that it's probably the worst as far as avoiding damage, just because you've got that huge wingspan, so you've got 2 or 3 times the width that everybody else does for somebody to, you know, pick up and track a target on you.
So when you race with your dad, do you win a lot, or do you always lose to him, or does he let you win, or how do the races turn out?
It's kind of balanced. He puts up a good fight.
That's good.
But the only reason
Which one
I
of you is
say
guiltier
that
of
is
looking
because
at the
he
other
uses
screen?
Jetstream.
Oh, okay. So he's using like the easy mode character, huh?
Yeah, I actually...
Cool.
My favorite sky vehicle to use is Sky Slicer. Mainly because of its pretty high top speed. Its handling isn't all that good, but once you get used to it, it doesn't really matter.
I'm still not used to any of the flying vehicles. I really struggle with controlling them. You got to take it easy when you race with us old people, because we don't have the reflexes and the agility that you young kids have. So you gotta let us win every now and then. Take it easy on your dad.
And I tried to race as Sunrunner once. Big mistake.
I still don't have a Sunrunner to race with.
Yeah, I actually popped mine out of the package when we went, just in case anybody wanted to do the air stuff, but haven't messed with it at all.
It's actually the slowest sky vehicle.
So since it looks like it, does it, you know, fly like a flying hockey puck?
Yeah, really. But its only attack is just a laser beam, and the other attack just shows the health bars of enemies, which is actually kind of good in levels like Time Town, like Clock Rock, which is a sky racing track that you get with the Sky Trophy.
Mm-hmm. So out of the 3 types, sky, land, and sea, what is your favorite racing type?
Now, I've only tried land and sky. I haven't done sea yet. Mm-hmm. But personally, I really like sky because the amount of mobility you have.
Okay. You like being able to move around in all 3 dimensions, huh?
Yes.
That's cool. I struggle with that. It's hard for my brain to do the Z-axis movement in the sky. So
yeah, it's rough for me. I mean, it's not nearly as much fun as I thought it would be as far as sky racing is concerned, because like your dad, I've played a lot of old school flight simulators that are a lot better as far as the controls and the feels and everything. If he hasn't already, get him, if possible, to let you play with X-Wing or TIE Fighter, and you will understand a world of difference in the minutia of control. It's literally like trying to fly a couch flying these Skylanders vehicles versus, playing a 20-year-old LucasArts game.
Another thing I just wanted to say is that I noticed your shirt. I'm a really big fan of Dragon Ball Z, so...
Yeah. I was making sure he was talking to me before I started celebrating. Yeah, I love Dragon Ball Z. Have you gotten to see the new movie that just came out yet?
No, actually, I haven't, but I hope to get it on, like, DVD or Blu-ray.
It's really good. You're really going to like it. I took Abby to go see it. It was only in theaters for one weekend where we live. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Who's your favorite Dragon Ball Z character?
Go Tanks.
Okay, cool.
Mine is credits, but I only ever get to see him at the very end of each episode, so I just kind of stay out of the room until he shows up.
Don't mind Doug, he's a hater. I like Vegeta a lot.
My favorite villain was actually one that not a lot of people talk about. Super 7.
Who's that?
Super 17 from GT.
It's weird, but I haven't watched any of GT. Only maybe like 2 episodes, because something about it I don't know, it just didn't grab me like the way that Z did. So I need to spend some time and try to make it through GT.
A lot of people who complain about GT complain why GT characters aren't in the Dragon Ball video games.
Yeah. But yeah, this new movie is very cool. First chance you get, you need to watch it. You'll really like it.
I bet it is.
I'm really glad that your love of Dragon Ball Z did never influenced our podcasting format, because we'd have an hour and a half of and then
well, that's all I hear when you talk about traps.
At the beginning of the next episode, we'd hear you going, last time on Skycast,
on the Skycast.
This time on Skycast, and also next time on Skycast.
Just for that, I'm going to do a last time on the Skycast before we get started this week. Just for that.
Just remember, those Charlie Brown parent voices are copyrighted, so you're gonna have to make your own. Exactly, you're gonna have to make your own.
And now my dad wants me to get off, and I just wanted to say it was very good to talk to you guys. Do you guys have any questions you want to ask me?
No questions, but thank you very much for getting on here and asking us great questions and answering our questions. And you're a very polite and well-spoken young man. You got a bright future ahead of you, so keep doing the things you're doing, especially Dragon Ball Z and Skylanders, because those things will get you very far in life, I promise. But yes, in all seriousness, thanks a lot. This was a real pleasure.
Yep.
It was a pleasure for me too. And now I am going to pass it on to the almighty MewTwo 90,000.
Awesome.
Hello, my name is MewTwo 90,000 on Roblox.
Hi there, MewTwo.
Hi, Mini Kaboom. And I very like Roblox. It is a website on the computer. It is a free website. You get to play games, build, and script. And I have like 20 or 40 places there. And I talk to my friends. And yeah.
That's cool. I'm really going to check this game out, because it sounds like the kind of thing that Abby and I would really enjoy doing together. So I'm really glad you guys recommended it to us.
And see, And on Roblox, you make your account name and your password or stuff. A lot of people say they keep forgetting their password. I don't know why. And my dad gives me Robux cards the time to time. They're at stores like Target and stuff. And they're like $25 or 10 ones. The $10 ones are rare. They're both the same. They give you like 2,000 Robux or Builders Club.
Oh, I see. So you got to get the money to play the game. Huh?
Told you, man, it was a money pit.
Well, it can't be any worse than Animal Jam, so, you know.
And I kind of don't like Skylanders, but I like Superchargers because you get the race in there, and I race with my dad.
So the racing is the first thing about Skylanders that you really liked, huh?
Yeah, and I like about Skylanders is that you have more stuff in Superchargers than the rest of the games.
Okay. Have you played any of the other games like Skylanders, like Disney Infinity or Lego Dimensions?
Nah, we haven't played those yet.
Okay. I was just wondering if you had played those and if you liked those better than Skylanders. But if you haven't played them, you wouldn't know, would you?
And about Skylanders is that my favorite vehicle, my land vehicle, is Hot Streak Spitfire's car.
Nice.
And
what do you think about the gold Hot Streak that we were racing with earlier? Do you have one of those yet?
We have the gold wheels. I think we have those. Nah, we
Cool.
don't. Yeah, we don't. Actually. My favorite Skylander is Spyro the Dragon.
I think my favorite Skylander is, it changes a lot, but it's probably Drobot? Terrafin? I don't know. I change it like every week or so.
Yeah, it kind of cycles between Drobot, Terrafin, and Enigma, I think.
Yeah. Or Kaboom. I like Kaboom a lot.
If they're cheap, Matt loves them.
Yeah, that's true.
And I got my own computer by working hard in school. And
Oh, congratulations.
and it's a Dell desktop XPS, and it's very fast, and it has Windows 8.1, not Windows 10 yet.
Oh, that's great. That
Yeah.
sounds like a really good computer, and I bet you'll learn a lot about programming and things by using that computer, so that's cool.
Yeah, and Dan, my favorite my birthday is on November 30th, so it's this month.
Oh, well, happy early birthday. Maybe we'll be streaming one day closer to your birthday, and we can say happy birthday to you on the air if you'll remind us.
Yeah, and I watch like science TV show, and I like Mike Rowe on.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Does he have a show other than Dirty Jobs that you
How
watch?
the Universe Works.
Okay, that sounds cool. I'm gonna check that out.
I really like space and stuff.
Space is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I think Scott.
Would you like to be an astronaut one day?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And nice time meeting you, and good to talk with you, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much. It was an awesome talking to you as well, MewTwo. So hope you have a great rest of the weekend, and appreciate you coming on the show with us.
Yeah, you too.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello, this is Lemons.
You got some good kids there, man.
Yeah, we try.
You're doing something, right? No, you were saying earlier, and I was going to say before you put your sons on, that Skylanders for me has always been that thing. Like, there's no greater joy as a parent than finding something that you can do with your kids and that you can enjoy as much as they do. And so, because there's lots of things you can do with your kids, and you enjoy it because they enjoy it, you know. But
Right.
when you find that thing where you're enjoying it for yourself as much as you are the fact that they're enjoying it and you're doing it together, there are so few things out there like that when you find one, you just, you latch onto it. That's what Skylanders was for me. And it's not quite that anymore because Abby's kind of growing up, and she's, she sounds like she's probably getting into that same kind of age where your older son's getting to, where she's getting her own interests and she's more, branching out a little bit. But, we'll still always have this game, even when she's old and grown and, moved out. Like, she's going to look back and remember the time we spent together, doing this and other things. So, I don't know. That's just me being sappy and sentimental, but that's what Skylanders kind of represents to me.
Yep, I would agree, and I'm very much in the same position. And of course, Raichu is kind of at the age now where he's pursuing other stuff, but I still enjoy the game, and I feel kind of weird still liking it. He's still into the game and he watches me play, but it's more passive. But it's again it's together time and stuff like that. Going back to your show, with your wives talking about accepting of some of the collection aspects of it, and I know my wife has the patience of Job, to deal with some of the stuff we've had to deal with. I mean, she's even gone out, much like you guys, and helped me get characters, because I have to travel, and sometimes it's not I just can't walk into a store when I'm in another state or maybe even out of country. So, but yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, man, absolutely, it's all good.
And hey, if you're out of the country, keep your eyes open for those 3 traps. We've got $50 for 2 sets, right here.
Yeah. Doug, ever the opportunist.
Well, I'm.
By the way, get me those traps.
I'm kind of kicking myself because I looked on eBay, and it's like before people knew they weren't coming out, they were going for like $70 a set for an entire 3 trap set. So I'm kind of kicking myself for not getting it now, but it's no big deal. It's just 3 traps, so.
That's right.
But it's more of an irritation than anything else. So.
Yeah, I think at this point it's more of the principle of the thing. It's not even so much the burn of, well, it won't be complete. It's the whole thing of, okay, you've been dishonest, you've been disingenuous with us about this. What's next? Just make the statement of, we messed up. They're not coming out. Ba-boom.
Yeah, but would that really make you feel better though?
It would give me closure. I mean, it wouldn't make me feel great, but it would, put a cap on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I mean, they should do it. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think everybody that thinks it'll make them feel better, it really won't, because they're still not going to have the traps that they want. That's all they really want.
Well, I mean, it won't make you feel good,
Yeah.
but it will potentially help you stop feeling crappy about it.
Right, and someone brought this to my attention. Actually, I've met quite a few friends, on the journey of, going to the stores, at opening night and stuff like that. And one tip he gave me is, if these things don't have a unique SKU, then you probably shouldn't chase them, because it's going to be a mixed bag in terms of whether or not you're going to get them or not. And Doug, I'm sure you already know that, but. I didn't know that going in, thinking, well, we're in the U.S. We always get everything in the U.S., and it's turning out not to be the case. So now, I'm feeling the taste that, everyone else in Dark Spyro who's not in the U.S. is feeling. So anyway, cry me a river, I guess.
Some of the problem with that is depending on what retailer you're going with, it doesn't matter whether they've got unique SKUs for everybody anyway, because like Target just... Target and Walmart, I think they just scan literally the first barcode of whatever comes out, and then they just don't bother with anybody else that is in there.
Huh.
They'll scan, Spyro, the individual figure, and then that'll be the SKU for whatever, and they'll be like, oh, we've got 400 of Spyro. Well, do you have this character? I don't know. It says we have 400 Spyros.
Wow, I would figure in this day and age they would want to get data mining of knowing what specific things they bought or people are buying. And not that Activision is really good at allowing retailers to cherry pick on what they get. That's probably another problem, right? The distribution strategy in waves. Maybe there should be a way for them, or for retailers, to be very specific on what they want. I don't know. There's no right answer.
Normally on I really can't and won't speak of who I work for and where my experience comes from, but as far as like the back end of retail, typically you can go ahead and order whatever you need. In most cases, it's kind of Activision being the exception of this is what we're offering or this specific bundle, and if you don't want it, tough. It's really kind of odd that they're doing the whole carrot and stick thing. It's mostly the stick.
Yeah.
And then just from an insider's perspective on a lot of that, it seems like a lot of the bigger businesses aren't nearly as together as you would think. Like I don't work for Walmart or Target, so I can say just purely as an example, with no true inside experience into their details, but from a similar background. Well, Walmart and Target look like they're great because look, we've got profits year over year soaring at this rate, and everybody loves to come shop at our stores, but when you get in there in the back end, it's really kind of like Office Space or The Office. It's a lot more similar to that than anybody would like to admit.
Yeah, and again, the other side looking in, right? Everything looks, I guess it all depends on your perspective. So, I don't, even understand or even pretend to understand how retailers do what they do or how Activision distributes the game. I guess this is probably the cheapest, fastest way for them to, get their stock out, And my only concern, for me on the franchise is the yearly fatigue of an entry every year. I wish the games were, you guys, for example, are playing Destiny, like crazy, and I wish Skylander, and I understand Skylander is a kid's game, but I wish there was more longevity inside of the game itself to justify the number of characters that they introduce in a year. And get some of that better balance going on. That's one concern, and the second concern is, the missteps in distribution, and to your point, the Nintendo decision. But I guess we'll see. Like I said, I tend to favor Vicarious over Toys for Bob, but actually after seeing Superchargers, I'm actually feeling like they're both at a good point from a parity perspective. I mean, each has, their pluses and minuses. And you get to look forward to each of the, the developers every year, for all of their nuances, right? So it's been a battle for me because, the first, when I saw Swap Force, to me, that was kind of like their top point of the franchise. And the last two have been good, but the after game show has been kind of on the it's been lacking a little bit. I don't know why they won't re-release PvP. I've spent hours with my kids just fighting each other, just getting in, fighting them with a Skylander, and I heard on an interview, well, we just Skylanders don't fight each other. I go, sure they do. Have you heard of a dojo? I mean, how do you get better? But anyway, those are my 2 cents, and you're happy to them. So.
Yeah, I think for me, like, those are the two things that I'm feeling right now with this game that are big holes, are the lack of just non-story based content in the game. And I know the racing is there, and the racing is great, but I want to use my characters. I want to use their powers, and I want to use their abilities. And there's not like a good outlet for that in the game. There's no you know, Chompy Pod's Arena or Chaos Doom Challenge or PvP Arena or anything like that that is designed to just let you play and grind and level up your characters. And, you know, that's one of the reasons why I kind of, you know, I had that initial burst of excitement with the game and I played a lot of it, and then I was kind of like, okay, well, I've seen what this game has to offer other than completing the story and unlocking, you know, some tracks and new characters coming out. You know, there's not a lot of drive to keep me coming back to keep playing this.
Right.
And I haven't really articulated that yet. You know, something that I've been debating on whether I wanted to say out loud on the show or whatever. But I mean, the truth is the truth. That's how I feel about the game. I still really love the game. I think it's a great game. I think the racing stuff is just fantastic. But if you happen to be one of those people that's just not super into the racing, then there's not a lot here for you once you know, get past the initial just spit and polish that's on the game.
Right.
I'm wondering if a lot of the stuff that we're complaining about is, you know, basically we're seeing that the overall quality of the game is suffering from Activision just forcing people to grind out on a particular schedule. You know, we're seeing them have to hit certain dates, and so they're, you know, cutting features or, you know, as thorough, you know, testing as they would, and they're going to need more and more complicated and dedicated testing the more complicated this stuff gets. You know, the more extra features they add, the, you know, more characters that they've got to make sure still work, etc. They're going to have to do it themselves to, you know, a large degree before they can train any kind of beta testers properly of, you know, what to look for and, you know, what not to look for, what they know about, etc. So I have to wonder if this time around, if, you know, PvP, if like the arena, you know, part of it was just a victim of, well, you know, we promised a racing game, we have to get the racing game out, we don't have time to work on this. If that's the case, I mean, maybe Activision could lighten up on the schedule, maybe, you know, they could, you know, set up something along the lines of, well, we didn't have time to implement this at launch, but, you know, you can buy it as a, you know, as a $15 add-on, as a $20 add-on. You know, maybe you'd get just like a little trophy, you know, maybe not to, you know, physically unlock it, but, you know, if they told me, oh, well, you know, we built the PvP module, you know, here it is, put it on your portal, unlock it, done, okay, here's my money.
And you know what, Doug, I would totally support that, because in my mind, given the number of characters, and this schedule has the fewest, before you factor in all the variants, right, which double the number of figures by 50%, but
and required almost no effort.
Right, exactly. So, you know, they can do one of two things. They can, if they're not going to produce content any more than what we've seen in the last two games, which have been more or less parody, although I'd argue with the network support and programming they had to do to make the online work, you know, Vicarious did more than TFB, but
oh, no question.
Yeah.
No question on that.
So,
because it is solid.
Oh,
It is very
absolutely.
solid.
I've never had any problems. But either, so if they're going to keep the content around where it is, then I would argue for a 2-year schedule, and they'd you know, have probably, you know, the between the 30 and 40 characters over that 2-year period, and then they trickle out additional content that you pay for. And you know, I know sometimes, you know, they love to do the battle arena packs and the, you know, adventure packs and stuff like that, and they could continue to do that, or if there's different types of content like what you're suggesting with the PvP and some of the other stuff, I would definitely, you know, wouldn't mind paying that, you know, to get those capabilities, because to Matt's point, you can then use your Skylanders and you'll have a reason to go out, you know, to take care of it, because, you know, the first 2 or 3 games, I was one of those crazy people that would do all the quests, all the heroics, and, you know I spent a lot of time doing that. And of course, the net it doesn't mean much now. So I've kind of, you know, closed the door on that chapter and realized that they're not going to take that road anymore. But I do think that, you know, they need to tweak that formula a little bit to handle that. So.
I'm wondering if they could clean it up, if instead of, you know, working as 2 separate, you know, sometimes potentially opposing teams, if they just put it all together. Because what we saw with Swap Force versus Trap Team was you had Vicarious Visions basically build this brand new, you engine and design ethic, and they added the mechanic about jumping. They did all that from scratch, or at least that's what we were led to believe. And then you had Toys for Bob come along and just use all of that, plus the trap mechanic and stuff that they came up with in the new game. If in the next game we see the same thing, that Toys for Bob takes the engine and the network components and everything that Vicarious Visions built for Superchargers, there's no reason that the two of them shouldn't work together, because for the most part, Toys for Bob, at least in my opinion, feel free to let me know if your opinion differs or if you think I'm out of line, but I think mostly Toys for Bob gets the design aspects mostly completely right. Vicarious Visions has had some great things that they've had out purely as design. They can still insert their 2 cents here and there, but if you have Vicarious Visions building all the back end stuff, and then Toys for Bob designing everything and prototyping the characters and stuff and getting them ready, you've got twice the workforce, and you've got all the creative forces in all the right places, and there's potentially no reason why you couldn't hit it with all the features that everybody wants firing on all cylinders within that roughly yearly timeline, instead of having half the staff having to do it every year and a half, every 2 years.
Yeah, that's an interesting concept. When I do projects, and I'm in IT, so it's not we have to deliver a product. We're services, so we'd have to deliver a service in a given time frame. So we face the same pressures that their development team does. In my opinion, there's a point of diminishing returns, and managing so many people beyond a point, you don't get that added oomph that you would, with the first X number of people involved with the project. So that would be one challenge they would have to work out. It would be interesting to see if they would meld their two architectures. I know they're using the same game engine, Alchemy, I believe, which is Vicarious's game engine that they bought some 10 years ago or something. But it would be interesting if they would, meld those two designs, and I don't know. I'd rather see a bigger game every 2 years personally to support the number of figures than the yearly schedule we have now.
Or maybe like a new game every year, but new figures and new gimmicks every 2 years. That would definitely add to the longevity of all the figures, because
Agreed.
You could have a every other year release, starting with like maybe next year of, okay, well, grab all of your dudes, here's a new adventure. We've included, this and this and this, everything you're familiar with, but, new plot, etc. And then following year, you get all new, characters and everything, and that would give them time to look at, if they bothered to, well, this guy was short-packed, and this guy, was more popular than what we produced, and etc. And that way they could focus a year on old, old molds, old product, etc. Make money purely off of that, and then go completely new the following year.
So I want to throw this out there because it's relevant to everything you guys are talking about. A couple of weeks ago, Disney announced a new thing that they're putting out in the summer, I think, or in the spring, called Marvel Battlegrounds or something like that. And basically what they're doing is making a PvP mode for Disney Infinity 3.0.
Oh, wow.
that is focused around the Marvel characters. And it seemed, from what the trailers showed, it looks like it's got PvP, and then it's also got some kind of horde mode style, like arena combat thing to it. And it basically looks like something that was built on the Toy Box engine by the core team. It's not a fan-made Toy Box, but it's certainly not like new game code or anything. And they're going to put this out and they're going to sell it. It's probably going to sell for like $20 or $30, and people are going to buy it. I mean, I'm looking forward to it just to have some kind of Toys to Life PvP to play. And I think, well, why couldn't Skylanders do that? Why couldn't they make a 1999 DLC PvP arena? Or
Pride.
What's that? Pride? Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, Disney's kind of setting a precedent for doing this, so I wonder if Skylanders will react to that at all in any way. I mean,
probably not. They put their blinders on. We were the first to market. We're the best to market.
Yeah.
And now that the market share is, I don't know if necessarily their share is slipping so much as there's less marketplace to go around. So
it's a combination. I mean, it's fatigue, it's competition, it's all that, you know. But I don't think they're in any kind of danger or anything. I think it's just, you know, it's a crowded space now, so everybody's got a little less to go around, you know, than there has been before.
Right.
There you go. You have to redeem our honor.
Well, the good news is with the crowding of the space, that tends to keep you on your toes. At least usually. So we'll see what happens. But
Phoenix has some comments. He says bringing back 3 trap masters, packed with the same element traps, either gone or dark light. 3 new swappables, 3 new villains. So basically, just, you know, bringing back some of the gimmicks every so often. So bringing back new characters of the older gimmick types. Yeah, that's cool. That's a cool idea. I think we talked about something like that a while back.
Yep, I remember that conversation, and it was. I think that's a good idea, because some of the complaints people have is, okay, what about the what is it, the feats of strength and some of the nuanced capabilities, and if you had 4 or 5 gimmicks and you can keep those gimmicks in play with what that content provided in the original release where that gimmick was introduced, oh wow, you would have a lot of different things you could do. Very, very, very different. And like, for example, I love the swap characters. I could just buy swappers all day long. Although, I didn't like the challenges that much, but they could, somehow spice them up a little bit. But just the whole concept of mixing and matching, I think, was vastly underdeveloped, because they only had 1 game to do that in. But I definitely appreciate the amount of technical effort it took for them to code that.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the idea of, hey, you don't necessarily need to come up with a brand new gimmick like every year. Like, just, you've got good gimmicks already. Just, make them more valuable by bringing them back every so often.
Yep.
Yeah. Quit acting like, oh well, this was a dumb idea. We clearly made a mistake. Let's do something else. I mean, it kind of smacks of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last point I'm going to make is, on the last 2 gimmicks have not been about the specific Skylander itself, and if they get erosion of market share, it will be because people thought they would get their investment moving forward, and people not seeing their trap investment move forward. Now, granted, they allowed something to happen with those things, but it wasn't, playing with your villains, etc. And same thing I fear with the vehicles, right? It'd be awesome, but I'm almost 100% in my mind already, thinking these nice cool vehicles won't do much in the next game, and I just urge them to think about what the next game will provide for whatever gimmick they're doing, and if they can somehow keep it Skylanders based. I think, at least what I'm hearing online, is people enjoy, the foot experience and things that you can do inside the game itself to make the experience different, or make the gimmick related to that. I think would be good. Doing the traps and the vehicles is great for a one-off. I'm just concerned about the moms and dads that are spending money on these things, realizing that in the next game they're not going to get everything they paid for. But that doesn't apply to people like me and Doug, because we get everything anyway. So, but anyway.
At least for now.
At least for now, you're right. Well, although I will say I am really unhappy with the number of variants. I won't be pursuing variants for this game. I did somehow get the high volt variant the morning it came out. Yeah, it was at my Toys R Us. There was only 3 people there, and I got that one. But
I got to open the boxes, and I still didn't get one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first time that happened to me. I was like, well, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Because I had never, ever seen a variant out in the wild. But
yeah, just thinking about all the gimmicks that they've got, I have to wonder. Of course, we don't have an inside perspective on what their think tank looks like, and there'd be very little they could do to really tell us without some sort of like, you know, NDS and everything. But I mean, just us talking about it, I've already thought of, okay, well, you've got the racing stuff. You can incorporate the giants back in, or, you know, some other kind of characters. You could put like feats of strength, like, okay, you're running a race and then the other character's running around doing melee stuff on foot to like maybe provide like weapons or ammunition to the vehicle. Or if you've got a giant, you could go do a feat of strength and like lift up, you know, a broken part of the track, and then somebody's got a shortcut because, you know, you used a giant while somebody was running around in the vehicle. Or, you know, what if you took the swap mechanic and then played with the vehicle?
Oh,
this time around they've got the very specific elements tied to you know, whatever, like, you know, the fire ones are land, and, you know, you've got the you know, the water ones, obviously the water, and then, you know, the life ones are air. You could potentially do like a weapons versus mode of transportation kind of thing, you know, and just like swap you know, weapons, or like the top part of a vehicle for the bottom part of another one, and then, you know, your swap mechanic is still there, but it's not just a Skylander, it's, you know, the vehicle for going and getting stuff done.
No, I think that would be an excellent DLC concept, because it would be a mashup of all the gimmicks. So reward the people who have spent the money on these figures and provide them content and allow to use their figures in different ways. And if the main experience can't do that, then fine, you know, issue some of these DLC one-offs that help answer the question that, you know, the people that are really invested in the franchise can, you know, continue to get more value out of it. That's the only thing I'm really asking for. So.
Yeah, and the only thing that I'm afraid, if I say this, that they might do it. You know, I'm kind of, you know, I'd be kind of elated if they did, but like you mentioned us playing Destiny, what if they did that to Skylanders? What if they made just like the one time, or at least, you know, the occasional time point of entry, like with Destiny, you buy the main game and it's the, you know, it's the main game, and, you know, that's that. And then, you know, if they come out with, like, for Destiny, they came out with the Taken King, which was kind of a big deal and a lot more content, so it would be kind of like buying Giants versus Spyro's Adventure, but have it be kind of like a perpetual online, you know, thing. Have it set up as that kind of pseudo MMO, but have it centered around like the Skylands Academy, or, you know, depending on what adventure you're in, have it, you know, be the old hub, you know, or one of the old hubs, and you could, you know, go talk to Hugo, or you could go talk to Eon, and they'd have stuff for you to go do. You could introduce all the villains, you could use, you know, all of your existing Skylanders, potentially, you know, the occasional new ones they would introduce. You know, I don't like the MMO, you know, part of that, both because it's addictive, and then there's the whole thing of, well, what if I want to play this 20 years down the line? I can't anymore, but at the same time, that's maybe a way for them to, you know, give fans more for their money's worth, while not having to deal so much with necessarily gimmick after gimmick or wholly new content on such a tight schedule.
You still there, Lemons?
I am. I did lose you for a second, but
I think we had a Discord malfunction.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That's all good. Hey, I'll let you guys get back to entertaining the masses here, but I do appreciate everything you guys are doing. I've enjoyed this weekend, and you guys keep up the great work.
Let me see if I can hear him on the stream.
It could be the, it could be the adapter.
Hello?
He just signed off. We lost him in Discord, but he just said thanks for everything. Keep up the great work. So I want to say, Lemons, thank you for the support this weekend. It's been phenomenal. You know, done more than your fair share, man. So thanks a lot, and it was a real pleasure talking to your sons. Hope they continue to get more and more hours of enjoyment out of the game, and I'm personally glad that they like the show and like listening to us, and I'm going to check out that game that they keep talking about, see if it's something that maybe Abby and I would like. All right, so let's check in with the stream.